Hey, what's going on? It's Josh here from endanxietyforgood.com, and I want to talk about how to deal with anxiety in this video today. But first I want to answer the question, do you want to deal with anxiety or do you want to end anxiety for good? And for a lot of the years that I had anxiety, I had no idea that I had it when I was younger. I got anxiety when I was right around 13 years old. Now I'm 26, and I knew of panic attacks, but I thought it was kind of a fluke when I had a panic attack. I happened to be in a movie and I randomly had a panic attack. And so I was going through some tough times in my life. I had some family members die, but I didn't think that it was really a part of who I was until I got older in life, and I found myself very anxious, and I found myself to be very much a perfectionist. So I know some of you out there can relate with this. So, a lot of doctors will diagnose you with generalized anxiety disorder or a social anxiety disorder. And what I truly believe is I think it's just a phase in your life that you're currently dealing with. And I think that you will get over it because, I had different issues with generalized anxiety, social anxiety at different chapters of my life. And I was able to get through each of those. And I was able to completely get rid of a lot of the symptoms that I had. And of course, you're always going to deal with stress, but if you can eliminate anxiety for good and get rid of anxiety, and when I mean anxiety, I'm talking about like constant anxiety, like 24/7 anxiety. There's a lot of people that just have anxiety 24/7 and they're always focused on getting rid of it and they just can't. That consumes up all of their time and their energy and their resources to help get rid of this anxiety. And so they start taking, Prozac, they start taking Zoloft, they start taking Valium, painkillers, whatever they can do to get rid of the symptoms that they have, but they don't understand the underlying cause. Okay, and I'm not trying to sound like a therapist here because I know there's tons of therapists that do cognitive behavioral therapy for anxiety, but I'm going off of personal experience. A lot of these therapists didn't have anxiety disorders themselves, so how can they relate to you? So take advice from somebody that has been there before, and I made that decision a long time ago in my business and in my life. So, when I started developing anxiety really bad, I was in a stressful job, but I was always anxious. I was always a perfectionist. And if I focused on one negative thing, it would manifest. It would slowly manifest. And so I decided to make a decision. I made a decision to kind of let my ego go and learn more about myself. And the more that we are aware and the more that we learn about ourselves, the better off that we're going to be, and the better off that we are going to be able to completely eliminate our anxiety. So really what I would do if I were you, and I know this is like a little technique that you can use, and there's tons of techniques out there, but I believe anxiety is a subconscious thing. It's a subconscious thing. It's been ingrained and embedded in our subconscious, and we don't know why we have anxiety because it's in our subconscious, okay? It's like when we were younger and our parents would tell us to stop doing some little thing that we would do maybe with our nose, or maybe we would do a certain thing with our eyebrows. I don't know, when we were younger, and it was just part of our genetics, or it was part of just who we are, and we didn't know how to do it. We didn't know how to eliminate it because it was just a part of the person that we were, okay? And so what we need to do is we need to reprogram ourselves. We need to get into our brains and understand how we are thinking. Understand what the thoughts are going through our mind consistently on a daily basis, and how we can replace those thoughts with new thoughts. And it starts with you. It starts with you making that decision. It doesn't start with me or your therapist or your doctor making that decision by covering it up, by giving you medication. You got to make that decision for yourself. And I promise you that you can get over this. You can fight it. You can get through it. No matter how you feel right now. If you feel completely depressed, if you feel completely lost, then you feel like you can't turn to somebody. I promise you, I've been there before. I've dealt with that before, and you will get through it. It's a decision. It's a decision. Sometimes we get so addicted to the way that we feel. For some reason, we like to feel depressed. We like to feel anxiety because our brain is so used to getting that and feeling that it's almost like a quick fix for the brain and for the body. And so it's almost like an addiction. So we need to replace that with new thoughts, a brand new thought process, a new hardware, wipe out the old, software system and install new thinking patterns into our brain. And we need to put consistently new thought processes into our brain. And sometimes maybe we need to get rid of certain people in our lives that are causing the anxiety, that are causing the depression, that are causing things. And that might be the hardest thing for you to do in your whole entire life. But as soon as you make that decision and you do that, I promise you there is a brighter day, there's a brighter future. So that's my best piece of advice, not only to control anxiety, but to completely eliminate it, okay? If you want to completely eliminate it, you don't just want to deal with it, because I don't want you to just have to deal with anxiety. I want you to be able to eliminate it fully, and it starts with you. It just starts with the decision to eliminate it. And a lot of times we get the idea that it's just a part of us. It's genetic. We're going to have it forever. And if we think like that, that will be the truth. Whether you think you can or you can't, you are right, and that's the truth. If you think that that it's all up to genetics, that's why you have it, then you will have it for the rest of your life. But if you make the decision that you can honestly get rid of it, or that you want it, you can control it, then you make that decision, and then you take the steps necessary. If it takes proper breathing steps, if it takes going to a therapist, if it takes reading certain books, if it takes listening to certain audio, I suggest you listen to people like Bob Proctor, you listen to Tony Robbins, you listen to people in the self-help community. I promise you're going to learn a lot about yourself and a lot about the way that you think, and you'll be able to eliminate your anxiety. So hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to check out my #1 product to eliminate anxiety completely, go ahead and click the link below, or go to End Your Anxiety for Good. And we'll talk to you very, very soon. Thank you, and take care.